Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Review. It's the Online Sports Guys College Football Podcast. And in case you're wondering, Brother Marty, if for those of you watching on YouTube, show us what you got there.
Some OSG swag.
Yeah, baby.
Iteration 1. I'm not sure how happy I am with it. We might have to get a redo on it.
Where's my box?
It's all about evolution.
My OSG swag is dated now.
I know. We need to update our swag is what we need to do.
Yeah, we do kind of, yeah, that's right. We changed the graphical look, so everything kind of is a little bit outdated, but that's okay.
I'm researching making us a helmet.
Diverging completely from the talk about swag, guys, we might as well go ahead and jump into some of the weird stuff that happened over the course of this college football week. And I guess we can't really go anywhere until we talk about some of the really bizarre stuff that came out of the state of Michigan this week. Starting off earlier in the week when we got word that Michigan may or may not have been stealing signs.
I'm very disappointed in the Big Ten right now. You got Harbaugh stealing signs. You got Day stealing Tress's philosophy. And you got Franklin stealing Phil's haircut. For shame.
Yeah. Well,
it's tough times in the Big Ten. Here's my feeling of the whole sign stealing.
Go for it.
I don't care. NCAA has no jurisdiction anymore. At least they try it. They think they have some kind of jurisdiction on college football. And now it seems like we're back in the 80s and 90s when if someone does something that the NCAA must investigate and bring out their team of lawyers and investigators. Doesn't matter anymore. I mean, you have no juice anymore. So who cares? I mean, Michigan took care of it by firing a staffer who I guess allegedly did it.
They didn't fire him. They just
we didn't do anything, but the guy you think did it is gone now.
I don't care. I don't care. It happens.
I mean, the rules currently state that you're not supposed to do it. So by the letter of the law.
So what's the punishment going to be? Oh, we're going to give you a bowl ban. Oh, we may have to take away some recruits. It ain't going to happen anymore. We're in a totally different era in college football. And reporting on this is like Michigan's going to get a bowl ban or not be able to participate in the postseason. BS. They're going to be able to participate in the postseason because now you got billions of dollars involved and they'll hire a lawyer to get an injunction. I mean, come on. It's silly.
Well, but yes, it is. And the other point in all of this is if you don't change your signs for key matchups and key opponents, that's a you problem.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's like there's a lot. There are laws of engagement where you're not supposed to steal signs. But if your signs are the same, Marty, duh.
My point on all this is how Michigan has this moral superiority complex, even though most of their fans get their stuff at Walmart, not the bookstore.
Spoken from an Ohio State fan.
Yes, a dyed-in-the-wool Ohio State fan. They call themselves the Harvard of the Big Ten, and they talk about how Michigan man. And I think most of the blowback on this is how they try to act superior to everybody else, and then they're dirtier than anybody in the SEC. Shots fired.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we get a couple more weeks away from this. We're probably not going to hear a whole lot about it other than random jokes from different fan bases as they travel around the Big Ten this season.
Yeah, plus we'll see when they get to a game where they're playing somebody that's actually competitive and see if they have the same. I mean, this guy working full time coincided with their 2-year turnaround. So we'll see if there's a big adjustment after this or not.
Get another PsyOps guy. You'll be all right.
Yeah, it didn't seem to affect them this week going into the
Michigan State.
Yeah, like I said, competition
Michigan
level.
State threatened not to play, and even though they did technically play it, I'm not sure they really actually showed up. But even that game was overshadowed, and the sign stealing was overshadowed when during the break in the action, we go to a quiz, and for some reason, somebody at Michigan State thought it would be a good idea to go on a trivia quiz and ask where Adolf Hitler was born.
Just no.
You
No,
can't make this
no.
stuff up.
I know. Third party vendor was taking
Michigan State, the Tucker stuff kind of has faded. They saw Michigan getting a lot of publicity and they're like, hey, hold my beer.
they couldn't get out of their own way with everything going on with Mel Tucker, so they decide to do that as a quiz. And yeah, can you imagine what the conversations must have been like for the sports information department of having to figure out how to apologize for that when you're down 42-0 and then release that statement to the media?
That's why they get paid six figures.
Yeah.
How does that get past the multiple sets of eyes that should have been looking at it?
This is what
saying.
happens when you underpay people in the athletic department.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy knew what he was doing. He was just pissed off at how he's been treated. Not that happens.
Maybe, or maybe you have a disgruntled third-party
Yeah.
vendor who maybe you're late
Don't
on
let-
payments for because you're having to pay off other people like lawyers. But I'm comforted in the fact that Michigan State has decided that they're going to let go of that third party that did this, and that they'll be toughening their approval process in their trivia questions on their scoreboard. I am comforted by that.
Absolutely.
I
My game
have
day
you warm all over there, Wilkie.
my game day experience has been improved tenfold with the release of that statement.
Yeah, shame on you for farming that out.
Exactly. So put a product on the field. Maybe I'll show back up to Spartan Stadium.
No.
Yeah, that game.
Of course, people might show up just to see what dumb thing they do next.
That's true.
Maybe the folks in East Lansing will fall into college football on a budget at this rate.
Yeah, the
Sparty
new,
will bring-
the
Sparty
new
will
stadium.
bring- Go ahead, Marty.
The new stadium name's gonna be Florida Man.
Sparty will bring a real sword.
Florida Man Field at
And
Spartan.
fall on it.
Thank you, Marty,
I'm
for
done.
picking it up.
Marty's out.
Get that sad Penn State mascot over there.
Yeah, speaking of Penn State, because we don't really need to talk anymore about Michigan or Michigan State, considering that game
Oh, why not? It's so much fun.
9-0. Penn State traveled to Ohio State in a game that had, for most people, some anticipation thinking this might be a pretty tough battle. And yeah, Ohio State won the game 20-12, but I'm not sure the game was ever really that close.
No, it was not. It was not that close, and Big Game James showed up one more time. Good job.
Pretty
Well-
solid. I just hate the narrative. Like I'm watching other games afterwards, and they're like, they're shaming Ohio State for having a second top 10 win. But if an SEC team has the same score with a lesser team, they're to be lauded. I just hate the narrative, as not just as an Ohio State fan, but it just seems like if you're not on their network, they kind of skew how they report your games.
Of course.
No,
Of course.
Not to sound like a homer.
I don't know who
But-
they are, but I mean, it's a solid win.
Well, to me, it reminded me of a Big Ten game from the 70s or 80s. I mean, it was low scoring. It was physical. It was tough.
It was Tressel.
It was, it was Tressel.
72-yard punt. Tressel was just grinning ear to ear with a 72-yard punt.
Probably. But I thought Penn State was hurt by that touchdown that called back. I think it took a lot of wind out of their sails, but they just had no offense, and a lot of it was because of Ohio State, how they schemed against them. I was very impressed with that Ohio State defense. And if I had a vote today for the Heisman, it goes to Marvin Harrison Jr. This guy needs some. What pub's out there for Marvin Harrison Jr. right now? All he hears are quarterbacks, and to me, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best player on that field, no matter who they play, who Ohio State plays. And he showed up in a big game when they needed some offense. And to me,
sure.
he's the best player in the country and deserves the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, McCord had a bad game,
86-1.
and he still Marv had a career high in receptions.
They're going to throw the ball to Harrison almost every time, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop him.
I mean,
No, you can put any coverage on him and he will still get separation and he'll still get into the end zone or come up with a big play that Ohio State needs. And to me, he's the best player in the country.
Just it's a $5 fine. Anybody ever says Maserati Marv going forward.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was so sick of that. Stop forcing it.
Yes.
Yeah. The only person who seems to think that's funny is Gus Johnson, who called the game. Couple of close games here in the top 10 this week. Actually, more than a couple of close games here in the top 10. For those who weren't paying attention to college football after dark, Washington, number 5, got the win against Arizona State, but boy, they really had to earn it. 15-7.
Michael Penix went 275 and 2 picks, but you figured you were going to have a letdown after the Oregon game. And it just so happened that Arizona State had the chance, but it was in Seattle. And so you find a way to win. I don't know how this impacts Michael Penix's West Coast vote for the Heisman Trophy, but there are just those games that you grind through, and this was that one. It just happened after a letdown, but yeah, you're still 7-0. You're number 5 going into the weekend, so we'll see what happens when it comes to UW.
One thing exposed to me is that Washington just hasn't really developed a running game yet. And you grinded out a victory over Arizona State at home. And I think it wouldn't mark any negatives on Michael Penix because he got the win, and he was a reason for that win. But Washington State now has been exposed that you can they're not going to run. They just have no running game, and now you can scheme against that. So it's interesting to see the remainder of their schedule how people scheme against that run game, because if they have no confidence that Washington, the Huskies have a run game, Penix are going to see every exotic blitz that's out there. So they've got to adjust to that.
I don't want to know about a Husky being exposed, Wilkie. I don't.
Of course you don't.
Another little bit of a surprise game. UCF travels to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Sooners. Oklahoma got the win 31-29, but they were lucky to escape.
Yep, UCF didn't convert the 2 with about 1:14 to go. They had drawn it to 31-29 with the score. And for anybody that might have seen the highlights, Gus brought out a play that he used in a game during a championship run. John Rice Plumlee rolls to his left, draws the traffic, shot put pass down the sideline, and you get your score. So a lot of folks might have been reminded about an Iron Bowl game where Nick Marshall did the same thing and tossed to Sammy Coates. So he's pulling stuff out of his hat, 10 years detached. But UCF, Gus Malzahn, let's put it this way. Gus Malzahn, regardless of where he is as a head coach, is always going to have that game where he's going to bite you in the ass and come up just short. This was that game this season at UCF.
Well, I think Oklahoma, even coming off the bye week, is still an emotional win over Texas. I think still had a little bit of an effect on that game. Dylan Gabriel played well. I just think UCF, as you said, John, just did enough, but didn't quite get over the hump. And there's good talent there with the Knights. But Oklahoma now, they're coming into the meat of their schedule. It's now a road trip to Kansas, a road trip to Stillwater to take on OSU in the final Bedlam game, which is going to be completely emotional, especially with it being in Stillwater.
Oh my
You got West Virginia at home, and then you go to BYU, and then you close with TCU at home. So this is kind of where we're going to see it, this OU team, and a lot of people have them in national title aspirations in the playoff, but if they can get through that brutal part 5-0, then they've earned the opportunity. They got to get past whoever they play in the championship game, which could be Texas. Mm-hmm. But they'll earn it if they can run that table.
Ay.
I don't see them getting past Bedlam. That's going to be so loud. I'm going to hear it down here in Dallas.
Oh yeah. I wish I could be in Stillwater for that game, because
if that doesn't register on the Richter scale with everybody banging on the side of that stadium.
Well, if anybody's been to Boone Pickens Stadium, and I've been there several times, there's no room on that sideline, and they're on top of you. And yes, OU is going to have a hard time because the fact is it's a final Bedlam game. You don't tell me you're going to get some inebriated Cowboy fans. They're going to throw some bottles or whatever at OU toward the end of the game.
Have they announced what time that's going to be? Because if that gets bumped to a night game,
no.
geez.
Oh, if that's a night game,
if that's a night game, all day drinking. Oh, that's going to be insane.
That's gotta be prime time FOX. I mean,
yes. And if the Cowboys win, you won't get a seat at Eskimo Joe's for a week.
Speaking of the Texas Longhorns, they did get the win over Houston at Houston, 31-24, in a game that sounded vaguely like an American League Championship Series game.
More like WWF with the officiating.
Yeah, the big story
when your quarterback does a jersey swap with the head umpire.
Quinn Ewers out with an injury in this game, and the Longhorns hung on and got the win.
And to slide, don't try to challenge a linebacker. Slide, and he challenged a linebacker, and he took the bad end of that. But I watched this game, and first quarter I thought this is going to be a blowout. Texas is just blowing Houston off the line. But if you remember, there was a play in the second quarter. It was 21-7, and Texas decided to have a fake field goal and didn't make the first down. And Houston drove down the field and got a touchdown. And from then on, it was all Houston after that until the end of the fourth quarter, when really I thought Houston just ran out of time and just had a bad drive at the end of the game that sealed their fate. But a couple of things I thought about this game. Texas is going to have to make a decision. If Quinn Ewers can go, do they display Arch Manning now? Is this his time to get a chance to see what he can do with the Longhorns? And the other thing I thought about was Houston. If all that talent, and Barney, you know what the talent's like there in the Houston area, high school football talent in that part of Texas, if they can keep a lot of those kids in Houston, kind of the way Miami did back in the 80s with their high school talent for the U, Houston's kind of poised to be that dominant team in the Big 12 when they redo that conference next year and for the foreseeable future. I saw it when they were in the Southwest Conference, when no one really expected to be a basketball school when they joined in '76, and they turned out to be a yearly contender for the Cotton Bowl.
If they can maintain their coach, so they're not reworking their recruiting strategy, they could make a little bit of noise, especially the Big 12. All the traditional heavy hitters are gone next year. It's wide open. And I'm just sorry, but that spot at the end of the game,
that was bad. It was terrible.
I'm a lifelong Cleveland Browns fan. I'm used to seeing horrible officiating. That was unbelievable.
That was a terrible. And even the replays showed that he was past the 9-yard line, and they still did not overturn it. It was a terrible, terrible call.
Jesus. I'm sorry. My heart goes out to UH alumni. That was just awful. I would really like to have seen that game end.
Yeah, moving on.
See what would have happened. Moving
on a little bit to the East Coast, we had an upset in the ACC. Virginia, a team that has won an ACC game or pretty much of anything else over the last year or two, jumps up and bites North Carolina in the rear end, 31-27. The Cavaliers get the win. Who saw that coming?
I don't care. Good for Virginia with everything.
Yeah, good for Virginia. I agree.
Double their win total.
Everything. And Mac Brown always seems to have a hiccup every year, and this is it. I saw a little bit of this game. I was very impressed with Virginia's defensive effort. And I'm thrilled for Tony Elliott, because think about it. He inherited a very shallow talent pool at Virginia. And then toward the end of your first year, you have players murdered, and you have to come back from that. And it was tough for them to get to start this season for the Cavaliers. This is a rivalry game. It's known as the oldest rivalry in the South, and Virginia knew that this was a big time on a big stage for them, and they got a signature win for Tony Elliott. And let's see what the Cavaliers can do to build off of this.
Absolutely. Just, literally with everything they've been through, fantastic that they got a conference win. End of story for me.
Yeah, nice win for them. Moving on. Oh, I got to go back out west for a game that was a little bit of a surprise, but yet not much of a surprise, and probably ended the Heisman Trophy repeat possibilities for USC quarterback Caleb Williams, because Utah gets the win 34 over a reeling USC 32. USC may not even be ranked after this week, guys.
USC just doesn't need to have Utah on their schedule ever.
Goodness
Well,
gracious.
if Southern Cal could stop the four of us, that would have been a victory for them. Think about it. Trojan fans are experiencing what Oklahoma fans experienced during the Lincoln Riley era. Fantastic offense, couldn't stop me on defense. And again, all I need was a defensive stop, and it didn't happen. And I do not understand why Lincoln Riley keeps holding on to Alex Grinch as his defensive coordinator, because pretty soon, I mean, think about it, guys. Southern Cal is LA's team, football team. I don't care the Rams and Chargers. LA cares more about the Trojans than they do about the Rams and the Chargers. And that's going to affect the gate. And that's also going to affect who you can bring in as recruits for defensive players, because defensive players are going to see that, and they're not going to put Southern Cal on their list. And think about the Big Ten when they play a November game in Michigan or in Ohio.
They're not going to be loving that. Grinch, don't get me wrong, he does affect he does affect a lot of offenses. Unfortunately, it's his own.
Yeah.
He did that everywhere he's gone. He did that to us at Ohio State. You'd end up with a ridiculous offense, and then the defense can't do nothing. Plus, this week you start hearing all that noise. You got a quarterback who wants to be a part owner of whatever team drafts him.
Oh my God, I heard that.
It's made up, guys. That's not
okay.
True.
That better be.
It is totally not true.
Oh my God.
Let's put a kibosh on that really quick. That was
Thank goodness.
The internet doing the internet thing and just kind of throwing doo-doo out there. Want to talk about a couple games here, as we only have a couple more minutes left in this block. I don't know if you got a chance to watch. I got to watch a little bit of this. Tennessee and Alabama, probably the marquee SEC game of the week. And Tennessee hung with them for the first half of the game, and then Alabama, after a half, just kind of kicked it up a notch and game over.
That depth, 27 points in the second half, and was all she wrote. And I think that, if you're Nick Saban, Wookie, you take this one, you take that information, you go forward with it, and you go, this is how we win football games at home in the SEC.
Exactly. And doesn't Jalen Milroe throw a beautiful deep ball? Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the difference of the game. It's been the difference of most Alabama victories. Once Jalen Milroe gets warmed up and starts completing chunk plays, Alabama's unstoppable. And the defense is back doing Alabama things. I thought Tennessee came out fired up, and I thought, okay, perhaps Alabama has let this lead get a little too large, and this is either going to be a tight one or it's going to be a Tennessee victory. And again, once that offense, Milroe, got warmed up, it was Katie bar the door. And I think what we've seen from Alabama is a team that's just gotten better and better and markedly better since day one. And I know that team's driving Nick Saban crazy. He even said so in his post-game presser. And he's taking years off his life. But he did say he enjoys coaching this team, and maybe this is the team that that probably keeps him around a little longer. I don't know, but this is the one driving him crazy. But they're getting results.
And we may find out the week after next, after they have a bye week and they welcome LSU and Jaden Daniels to Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yeah.
I want to hit on a couple of things really quick here before we run out of time in the block. Did you guys see the end of the Iowa-Minnesota game? Iowa gets a chance to win the game on a punt return that ended up getting called back because somebody kind of gestured like they were going to be fair catching the ball and didn't. And then he ended up taking the ball back and scoring.
Fair catch
Don't
interference.
flap your arms when you're returning a punt. Jesus.
Nope.
Ooh.
Keep hands down. Keep your hands to yourself.
And
Don't-
so the Florida Rosedale goes to Minneapolis.
Don't hand me no
Yes.
long line.
And we see the clock ticking ever so quickly on Brian Ferentz's time in Iowa.
It's on his bonus, first and foremost. That 25 points a game average is slowly needing to increase. I don't see the bonus happening.
No. And got to talk really quickly about a game that may have set the college football back a few years. Mississippi State beats Arkansas 7-3. And Wilkie, is it time for Arkansas to make Dan Enos go away?
I'm going away on that one, guys. No, yeah. He has been the on the target all year. Dan Enos has, because of just how he's mishandled KJ Jefferson from the get go, going in shotgun when you have 4th and inches. It was a pathetic. Thank God I didn't watch the game.
Oh my God.
I was busy doing an event for Fulton County Schools, but I didn't watch the game. And when I saw the score, 4th quarter score, and I was done, I'm like, I ain't watching this. I'm not even gonna listen to Chuck Barrett on the Razorback Radio Network. I mean, I knew what was going to happen. And now, they got the off week this week, which they need after being on the road for 4 straight games and
Get some cold beers.
laying an egg in Fayetteville against one of the most mediocre teams in the SEC. I'm done. I mean, I'm looking at the Mizzou Tigers now, because I think that team is going to challenge in the East and could be in Atlanta for the title game, because that team is getting better. I love how they're built right now.
Yep, we'll find out in a couple of weeks when they travel to Athens to take on the Georgia Bulldogs.
Good luck,
guys. Let's put a wrap here on block number 1 of the show. First half has come to a conclusion. So much more to talk about when we come back in the second half of the show. We'll look ahead at some of the games for next week. And of course, it's everybody's favorite segment, college football on a budget. That and more when we return for the second half of the review. You are listening to the review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Please like and subscribe.
Over here in the OSG Sports side of things, we talk football. FOOTBALL. College football version here with the college football review every single week. But for those of you that like not just football with 2 O's, but football with a U, FUTBOL, there's the Soccer Down Here Network. I'm John Nelson. I host the morning show on Soccer Down Here along with Jarrett Smith, Nick Alifi, Jason Longshore. And if you're looking for the best information when it comes to the world of soccer, based in the southeastern United States, but we don't leave anything off the table. 9:05 Eastern time until 11 whenever. Sometimes we go for a while. SDH Network morning show, soccer's morning show, Monday through Friday, plus all the live events we do. It is your place and your source for soccer that is based in the Southeast, but covers everything on the world. SoccerDownHere.net, the Soccer Down Here app, available iOS and Android through our friends at Spreaker. That's like speaker with an R in the middle. Spreaker, do a search for OSG Sports, do a search for Soccer Down Here. All the soccer content all in one place. It is the SDH Network and Soccer Down Here.
Thanks for sticking around, folks. You have made it to the second half of the show. For those of us just joining a little bit late here, well, you wouldn't be, because we're not live. You're on tape. You probably have already seen the first half. This
Live on tape.
They still use tape?
Sports College Football Podcast featuring us, the online sports guys. In the first half of the show, we talked about game results, and now we're looking ahead to the upcoming week.
Said looking ahead.
Guys, we said right before we hit the record button here that you could probably classify this as maybe homecoming week.
Yeah.
Just looking at the schedule, I would say that is the case, although there's some rivalries mixed in here.
Okay.
Probably the biggest ranked game of the week would be Saturday afternoon in Utah as the Oregon Ducks travel into Utah to take on the Utes.
No Cam Rising. He got shelved by Kyle Whittingham
Right.
after the game this past weekend, and Utah's having to find ways to muck things up, and it's not the
What they do.
Well, but they have no choice. I mean, with Cam Rising, you could wing the ball around the yard and you can put up numbers and all this kind of stuff. Without Cam Rising and without a quarterback to settle on, they've had to muck things up, slow things down, win low scoring games unless you're playing Southern Cal.
Yeah.
And get it done that way. So I mean, it'll be a fantastic atmosphere at Rice Eccles, and I think Oregon gets it done, but I think it's going to be a lot tighter than folks may think, Marty.
Oh, I think Utah's really going to go after him. I just like the way they play. Bad stuff happens. They don't cry about it. They just, they tighten up their pants, roll up their sleeves, and get to work.
Excuse me?
Well, Kyle Whittingham made a couple of adjustments. He brought in Bryson Barnes as their starting quarterback. He started the season, went down to third string. Now he's back, and he's a better fit for that offense. He does a lot of the same things that Cam Rising does. The other thing is they brought Sion Yuki back from the defensive end of the ball to play more offense, and he made a difference in that USC game. And so I think Kyle Whittingham has moved the chess pieces just perfectly to put Utah back in a position to win the third straight Pac-12 title and the final Pac-12 title. So the games at Rice Eccles, I gotta like Utah on this one, and I've always been impressed with the fact that Kyle Whittingham kind of follows the blueprint of what SEC teams does. Get those big linemen. He gets them from Samoa.
Get those Polynesian linemen, brother.
Yes, that not only are big but can run laterally and shut down a run game. And
Sione, also Tongan.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And also think about the fact that Dan Lanning likes to play analytics. And lately analytics has kind of bitten some coaches in the backside, especially last week. So I got Utah on this one.
I think Oregon wins a tight one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oregon and a nail biter too. I think this is probably your best game of the day. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. It's going to be the best
right.
game of the day. My head says Oregon, but my heart says Utah. I love the way they play.
Mm-hmm.
A couple rivalry games this week, including the world's largest party that we can't call cocktail. Well, we can call it that. They
It's
just
the
world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Stop
Come
me.
on.
Stop me. I dare you.
Yeah.
Number one, Georgia without Brock Bowers taking on Florida.
Oh, no, not that. Not like they don't have depth and can adjust. Please.
But you could also argue that Bowers is probably one of the 5 best players in college football.
No question. He should be getting an invite to New York City by the time it's over. When he comes back healthy, do not be surprised if he is showcased. And I mean, literally, you're putting him at wing back in a running back set. You have him at fullback, like you had him a couple of situations earlier this year. He'll be out wide. He'll be the X. He'll be a halfback. He'll be a wing back. He'll call plays. He'll wear a headset. I mean, literally, Brock Bowers will get showcased when he comes back from being healthy. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm predisposed to think, Marty, that this game will be closer than the spread because Kirby Smart does not care what you think about how he's trying to progress his team. Georgia gets it done. I don't know if Kirby can send a message or not, but I think that Georgia wins this one.
I agree with you on Georgia. I think they're going to go after him, though.
Yeah.
With the whole rivalry thing, I don't think he's going to play with his food like he's seemed to have done a little bit earlier in the season. Sure. I think he's going for a throat on them to show where they need to be.
I agree. He's a Georgia to the core, and this is Florida. And so he's going to want to put up a big score. And all Georgia's going to do with Brock Bowers gone is put an equally talented tight end there, just with a different skill set.
Mm-hmm. Oscar Delp will be the name to pay attention to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another interesting matchup, or one at least that intrigues me a little bit. We talked in the first half of the show about Oklahoma and their road to their last go around in the Big 12 title. They got to go to Kansas next. And while Kansas isn't the Kansas of a couple of years ago, where they were arguably the worst team in college football, I still think Oklahoma's got this one. I think is a game that Oklahoma should win.
Well, for Sooner fans, they're going to get scared to death. That's for sure. Historically, Kansas has always played Oklahoma well in Lawrence. And this Kansas team has got some players on it. And Lance Leipold has been let's face it. I mean, he's done a fantastic job of putting a winning culture in Lawrence with a football program that's just been god awful for about 15 years, and just swinging, flailing to find the right fit as a head coach and as a culture. And he's been a win for Kansas. I think Oklahoma gets it done because I think Dylan Gabriel has really become the quarterback in the Big 12. And I think they got superior talent. But Kansas is going to scare the heck out of Sooner fans, and it's not going to be easy for them to watch.
You know, 5-2. When was the last time you said that with Kansas? I kind of think they're going to squeak this one out with that home field advantage. They really want to do a number on Oklahoma. I'd like to see it just because I'm an underdog fan. Yeah. I think they squeak it out.
Yeah, as much as I'd love for Marty's prediction to be true, I'm with Wilkie here. I think that OU gets the ish scared out of him, especially for a noon kick in Lawrence.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be kind of out there for a little while. But I think Kansas covers. I think OU wins.
Another intriguing matchup, some ACC football here. Duke, after going down to Florida State and losing this past weekend, travels to Louisville in a game where both of these teams are actually ranked.
Mm-hmm.
I like if Riley Leonard plays, I like Duke in this game, but if he doesn't, look for Louisville to keep moving on up.
Well, to me, Louisville's probably the feel-good story of college football this year. Jeff Brom, the hometown guy, comes in and rebuilds quickly right away. This wasn't expected. They're thinking this is going to be at least a 3-year project. Well, he's brought his system into Louisville and through the transfer portal, and he's been able to get the players to respond right away. So I'm going to go with Louisville in this game because I just, it's not so much that they got superior talent or superior scheme. You know, I just think that they've got a lot of intangibles on their side that Duke doesn't have. You know, Duke right now is trying to figure out if Riley Leonard can go, and that changes everything as far as how they prepare for that game. Louisville, they're not going to mess up the blueprint right now. And Jeff Brom's blueprint served him well in Purdue, and it's serving him really well in Louisville. So I like Louisville in this game.
When was the last time we saw these two teams ranked in football?
Yeah, I was going to say this. Is this where a men's basketball
in
game?
Football? Yeah. If this is a basketball game, I'm taking Duke. But for football, I just like the grit for Louisville. They just, you know, like you're saying, the it factor. They just they grind. I respect that. So I graduated from Grit U in Youngstown State. So
now the current Louisville men's basketball team, I wouldn't take. No.
Yeah.
One last game I want to talk about before we transition over to college football on a budget.
Yeah.
And that's a game that features the last remaining group of 5 undefeated team, James Madison, Old Dominion, coming into Harrisonburg to take on the Dukes.
Okay. All right. Now, when the Attorney General for the state of Virginia wants to write a note to the NCAA, hey, make my team, make my school in my state bowl eligible. Bruh, they signed a piece of paper that said 2 years. Yes, unless folks can't qualify and there aren't enough qualifiers. You can't sit there and go, you know, Change your rules. I want them in. They're 6-0. No, look, they signed a paper, 2 years. Be patient. James Madison's turning things around. They're doing well in Div.I. Calm down.
Mhm.
Calm down. Don't try to sit there and try to act like I'm going to send a note as a parent to try to change the principal's mind. That never works.
Like that dude even watches football. Let's see. Is it? Oh, it's just before November.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for writing an article about me.
Yes, exactly. Go write another 5-paragraph essay.
Yeah, he's the guy with the Go Sports Team T-shirt.
Yes.
Well, you just know that this time next year, John's going to be wearing that James Madison National Championship T-shirt.
You know it.
You got off the black market somewhere.
You know it, baby.
Hey,
Go with
again,
that UCF one.
another feel-good story in college football. James Madison coming into the Division I level, into the Sun Belt. And people know our feelings of the Sun Belt and how good that conference is. And coming in undefeated, and not even being undefeated, but kind of dominating their opponents as well. But they got to play some better competition, right? Other than just Virginia Tech. They got to bring it. We got to see it against some bigger opponents. But no, you don't need to be going to the Cotton Bowl or whatever the New Year's Six bowls are because you signed a piece of paper.
You signed a piece of paper. So what was that phrase? They got to bring it and we got to see it.
Yep.
That's a T-shirt.
That is definitely a T-shirt.
That's definitely.
Already get on that.
Yeah.
That could be our slogan.
Yes.
All I'm going to add to this is about a decade ago, my alma mater, as a matter of fact, made the transition from 1AA to Division I and won the Sun Belt, technically, and could not get
Congrats
that
on transition.
title or go to a bowl game.
Your transitional conference champion, Georgia Southern.
Mm-hmm. So sorry,
There's
Jay.
a joke there. I'm going to leave it alone.
Sorry, Jay. You're not the only people who have ever had to deal with this. Get over yourselves.
Calm down, cowboy.
Maybe we'll have an ineligible bowl with two teams that are bowl eligible, but
Yes. See that? You just
not bowl qualified.
Just go ahead and play a game 13 and don't worry about it. Just route one and play it in some neutral site someplace. Play
Give them the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Play them in Salem, Virginia, at the old D3 championship site.
Ooh.
Play them somewhere in New England in January where the weather is tropical.
Yes. Play it at Gillette. or on Brown's campus in Providence, in Providence.
Yeah, that might be a better setting for it.
Give me grass, give me a high crown, and give me a bunch of mud. So maybe the Yale Bowl or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, Yale Bowl would be kind of cool.
Okay, guys.
It's built like the Rose Bowl. In fact, the Rose Bowl was modeled after the Yale Bowl.
Okay, guys, it's time to transition to everybody's favorite segment,
There's that word again.
college football on a budget.
Football on a budget. Da-da. Time to bring out the cup. Bring out the cup with the vest on it. And let everybody know. For those of you who might be watching or listening for the first time, what we do here is we want to have everyone expand their horizons when it comes to college football. First off, we want you to support your local teams. Go someplace you've never been. Division I AA, D2, D3, NAIA. Go and support a local team that you've never had the chance to support when your team's got an off week, or if there's a game that you don't want to go to or it's too far away. Go and support local lower division colleges. But what we wanted to do here with this segment is we look on the upcoming schedule of games, and we want you to expand your horizons, but we don't want you to spend a whole lot of money. We want you to spend money on the experience and not the ticket to get in the door. So we've set a ceiling of $9. And there are some games this week that are just above 10, 11, 12, 13.
Less than a soda.
Less than a soda that you can currently get at a Power 5 event. Walk in the door, add to your experience when it comes to college football. And we do have a couple of those this week. And it starts early. Tuesday at Hawkins Industries LT Stadium in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Liberty is at the Chiggers, the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. And by the way, the 7 different Chigger representations on the side of the helmet for each of the position groups That is a fantastic idea, and I hope that they market the ish out of it and sell 9 gazillion helmets. Liberty at Western Kentucky, $9 on the U.
I am all over that, even if it's just to go to the bookstore. I want at least 2 of those helmets, and I'm pretty sure they did a T-shirt design with each one of those mascots. That mascot, I don't know if you've ever witnessed a Western Kentucky game. I've worked some Conference USA sporting events, and that mascot always brings it. Doesn't matter who's in the costume and what year it is. They are always there, and they're always fun. And having experienced their fans firsthand, it's a fun group. That's definitely a buy that all day long, even if it's twice that price.
$9.
$9.
Big red.
Yes.
So for $10, you can keep the change.
Yes. Or what you can do is you can go and buy multiple tickets like Marty does in a couple of situations and has. Marty has gone to Tulane Stadium for $2 tickets and bought a group of 5 or brought a group of 10 for $20 just so he can have the space all to himself.
I want both
bar.
armrests, and I want to put my feet up in front of me.
Yeah, so there you go. Wednesday, the trend continues at Ricardo Silva Stadium, home of the Miami FC in Boca Raton. Jacksonville State at Florida International on CBS Sports Network Wednesday night, 7:00, $9.
I'm buying because there's probably a good Florida man story in the tailgate area coming out of this.
Boca Raton's a different atmosphere, though, Marty. You get a little bit more.
Yeah, but if you get one person to travel from Jacksonville to Boca, there's a Florida man story happening in that tailgate.
Okay.
I'm having visions of a Buffalo Bills game tailgate, and there'll be a good video.
Jacksonville. I mean, you're going from Eastern Alabama. You're driving down to Boca Raton. That's a fun one. I'm going to submit a waiver to the segment this week because I have a $10 price tag.
I know where you're going.
Thursday night football.
This hurts me.
State at Southern, $10 at Paulson Stadium.
The pure hate rivalry.
I am spending like a drunken sailor this week. I'm going to that one too. I'm getting extra tickets for Phil.
Southern, not State.
As you see for those of you watching on the video version, Phil has broken out his Georgia Southern sweat gear. But yes, State at Southern at Paulson.
And Marty, I'll go with you. So you and I will party down in Statesboro, and I'm sure my son, who spent a year at Statesboro, knows the places we can go to. But we need to get. You remember those big fat heads? We can get one of those of Phil's face with his GS hat on and hold it up during the game.
Oh,
with the caption,
Okay.
"Proud alumni."
we're doing 2 because since we've had a member of our posse MIA, that might be how we
Last
get him
several
into
weeks.
some of the video.
There you go. And we do it bare chested.
Ooh,
No.
Ooh.
I got too much fat for that fat head.
All right.
As long as I can hold it in front of my stomach.
There you go. Hold it right
You
there.
can't take that back now that it's on video and audio, right?
No.
We're well aware of that.
So Saturday, noon kick in the ACC in Chestnut Hill, UConn at Boston College, $7 on the ACC network.
Now that's a place I wouldn't keep the change. I want my $3 back. Actually, Alumni Stadium's a cool place to watch a game in Chestnut Hill, but you got 2 below mediocre East Coast teams or Northeast teams who just play basic football. I think $7 is it's a little too much.
Yeah, I won't even go to that game to steal signs.
That game could be better. That money could be better spent someplace else.
I mean,
Now,
yes.
if BC has a hockey game later that day, you give me a 2 for 1.
That flips the tables completely.
I might think about that.
Yeah, that changes things.
Now, next one on the board is also a noon
Ooh.
kick. It's on the Big
Power
Ten.
5 game.
Ryan Field, Evanston, Illinois, Maryland at Northwestern, $3 to get in.
I'm there.
Buying extra seats for comfort. I don't know if you watched their field goal kicker celebration. Did you guys see this?
No.
I think I
Kicker
did.
nails the kick. He does
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
His placeholder milks it.
Yeah.
I'm going just for that.
Wow.
Milking the cow. That's the ultimate Midwest celebration. Beautiful.
Oh my God.
And
I
$3.
might actually
The
wear
prices
the
were any
Maryland.
lower, they'd be paying us to go to the game.
Yeah. I would pay the $5,
Free.
keep the change, wear my Maryland t-shirt, and just see what would happen to me in Evanston because I know what Chicago fans are like if I wore a blue sweater to a Blackhawks game in the United Center.
Yeah, you're
It's a
assuming
trap.
there's fans at the game.
Yeah.
That's a large assumption, as the $3 shows.
If the get-in price is $3, they're not expecting a big crowd.
$3 now, you know that's gonna be $1 day of.
I just want to see what happened.
Cocktail party get in, by the way, is $93. And
I'd
That's
pay
kind
it.
of low.
I'd pay it.
okay.
It's a bucket list item for me.
Having
three-
I'd
worked-
like to
still
go
have
once
two-
as a fan instead of working it.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah, I
have
was
2
gonna
kids
say,
left.
having been to multiple games of those games on the sidelines, I'm not sure I need to go there anymore.
So $93 to get into the cocktail party. $155 to get into Oregon and Utah. So it's $155 to get in at Rice Eccles.
Yeah, that's probably the
Also-
most expensive game on
Worth
the
it.
board this week, isn't it?
So far, yeah. I'm viewing this in real time. So if I see something that
We might, my family might have somebody related to somebody on one of those teams, so I might sneak into that game. That's gonna be a good game.
3:30 kick at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. East Carolina and Texas San Antonio, $8.
That
I'm
watch
taking.
that, yeah, watch for the price.
Just stay away from the water down there at the
Away from the river.
river walk.
Considering the lack of interest in that game, I bet that price goes down before it's all said and done.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm bang Dave game.
Camp Randall, so you can jump around, is $80 at 7:30 as Ohio State visits Madison, Wisconsin.
That's a bucket list one for me. I just want to do the jump around once. I want to. My old boss actually went to a game and he stood still just to see how much the stadium would move, and he said it was very unsettling.
Nice. The last game on the board for us for college football on a budget this week, it's a night game. And so if you caught a game early in the day, like if you went to the game in Evanston, caught a flight, you could go from Chicago
Southwest flight.
to Reno, Nevada, and at 10:30 on CBS Sports Network, New Mexico at Nevada, get-in price at McKay Stadium, $9.
Why?
I could win that at the roulette wheel and then walk over.
That.
You convinced me. We're gonna hit the casino before and after and double our money
Right.
and go to that game
And maybe find a nice steak place that's affordable.
and be an extra on Reno 911.
There you go.
And for those of you that are going to be staying up late or want to catch a flight, the 11:59 kick of San Jose State and Hawaii at Clarence TC Chin, get-in price $22.
Adjusted for inflation and tourism markup, I think that qualifies as a $9 game.
Probably.
And as always, I will take a Hawaii trip anytime it's offered.
Yes. So
There's
that is another
there's
go
other
around.
out west action on a budget too. It's a little bit over our amount, but you could go see what the remnants of the 2-pack. Washington State at Arizona State, $13, and Oregon State at Arizona for 12.
Well, and to your James Madison point, Old Dominion and James Madison, get-in price at Bridgeforth Stadium and Zane Shoker Field in Harrisonburg, Virginia, get-in price of $51.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Solid.
For ODU and James Madison, get-in price of $51.
That's
I'm
I'm
nice.
going to watch that on TV. I'm not going to pay that.
It's a beautiful campus. I'll give them
It is a
that.
cool campus. I
It
agree.
is. Yeah, I've been there too. It's very nice.
And
As for Arizona State and Washington State, I'm climbing the mountain at the Sun Devil Stadium and watching it there.
that's the way to do it.
That's where I used to park the Sat truck for baseball games.
And I mean, that's
I've climbed it before, not to watch an ASU game, but I've climbed it before.
and scanning quickly to see if there's anything in Division I AA. It looks like South Dakota State, South Dakota, at the Dakota Dome in Vermillion. Get in price
The big garage.
$180.
Oh yeah, that's probably huge for them.
And
State championship right there.
Yeah.
and at Bragg Memorial for Prairie View and Florida A&M, get in price $148.
That's for the band.
Yes, it absolutely.
Yeah, that's a halftime viewing only.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Incarnate Word at Lamar in Beaumont, Texas at Provost Humphrey Stadium, $10. That's as close as we're going to get this week for a college football on a budget in 1AA.
I'm seeing where my alma mater is. Haven't seen my alma mater yet. I guess they're off.
Oh, here's another one that's pretty low price. Some directional Michigan football action. Eastern or Western Michigan traveling to Eastern Michigan for $11.
Nah, can't do it.
Meh.
Southeast Missouri State's at Nichols for a get-in price of 28. Missouri State is at oh no.
What?
Missouri State is at Youngstown.
Uh-oh.
Oh yes, there it is. 2:00 kick.
Get
What's
it
the
on your
price?
Penguins.
Get-in price at Stambaugh, $22.
Ooh.
Want
Guys.
to go?
Well, I got a niece that's going to school there, so I could just get a freebie.
I see your Penguin helmet on your shoulder, just above your shoulder there.
Yes,
I've
I
got
need
on
to.
my old school Missouri State hat.
Oh.
I need to get the
Go Bears.
YSU did win this week, last second field goal. They also broke out the Pete the Penguin helmets, and if I'd pay the 22 if they're breaking out the Pete's again.
That is a cool logo.
Plus, I might still have some keys to that stadium.
See?
There you go.
That's
Go
that-
Gwins.
the
I'll meet you halfway. We'll road trip and watch our alma maters beat the hell out of each other.
that's just
That's a national championship commemorative plate made of brass.
wow. Half of the
I-
show
When you're not a football school, you don't have trophies.
half of the show is
I would suggest you go over to the website and check out how many national championships they've had.
Yeah, I seem to remember your school and my school playing in the 1AA championship game a couple times too.
Yep.
wow.
Ed O'Neill, Al Bundy himself played football there, number 68.
I did not.
John Goodman played football at Missouri State.
Half of the show is fighting each other this week in one.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be a good one-on-one battle, wouldn't it? Ed O'Neill.
I think we're gonna have to do some predictions for that game.
I think we are.
Some
So,
extra content on the YouTube channel
there you
and
go.
website.
Extra content. So that's
OnlineSportsGuys.com.
there you go.
Penguins, Bears, oh my.
That's college football on a budget for this week.
Yeah, and I think it's time to kind of wrap things up, guys, as we're kind of running out of time here on the Zoom link. So let's do that. Make sure you check out your local school. Like John said, we gave you plenty of options if you're looking to go save some money and still go see some college football for some nice entertainment on a weekend.
Lincoln and Kennesaw State, $12.
Okay, that works too. That totally works.
Yes, I know what I'm doing next Saturday. Head to
Indeed.
Kennesaw.
There you go.
All right. For OSG Wilkie, OSG Nelson, Brother Marty, I am OSG Phil. We are part of the Online Sports Guys college football team. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will be back again next week. Until then, enjoy yourselves and watch some college football. Goodbye, everybody.
Please like and subscribe and visit the website OnlineSportsGuys.com.
Cue dramatic music.